All right. We should be live despite the fact that there's a big old delay, but that's okay. Delays are a reality when you live in the country and you're on the back of the bus for Starlink. And what do I mean by the back of the bus? I mean I am on their best effort program. I apologize, and this is my standard rigmarole for every stream. I apologize for any delays, outages, blips, bloops, blorps, or anything that happens while I'm on a live stream. Best effort Starlink service means they're going to do the best they can, but they guarantee nothing, which means that if a customer is having an issue, a normal customer, and me, they're going to choose the normal customer. That's how Starlink's best effort program works. And it's not because I'm paying less. I'm actually paying the exact same amount. There's not some secret discount Starlink. That is not the way it goes. I mean, unfortunately, I'd probably pay for that. I don't know. I'm tempted to throw 5 figures down on getting a fiber optic connection because I'm getting a little bit annoyed by all the outages, right? Bad internet. That's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Imagine trying to talk on a phone and there's a delay. Wouldn't want that. Wouldn't want that at all. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about how much land do you need? And to do this, we're going to need to know how much we grow. If you want to know how much you should grow, look at one of my previous live streams. I bring out my Excel spreadsheet, which I live by. The Excel spreadsheet tells you how much food you actually need to grow. And based on that, we can derive how much land we need. Pretty simple stuff, right? No worries, no worries. All right, so I'm just going to set myself up here. Hopefully I'm not jumping around too much. It's saying that I have excellent condition. I somehow doubt that. I'm going to press X to doubt. We'll see. Get my spreadsheet ready. I'm coming in a little bit hot. And this is just an example. So this is not anything to like base your whole life on, right? But this is just an example. It is illustrative though. In physics, we have a concept called orders of magnitude. And an order of magnitude tells you about the ballpark. It is, is it tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars? Is it 1 acre, 10 acres, 100 acres? What do you need to live on, right? Well, I could give you a lot better than that. So this is the nutrition template. I am going to hide all of the cells that have 0 in it. And as you can see, just about everything in here is doing well except for vitamin D. To get vitamin D, just be in the sunshine. It's free unless you live in Soviet Russia. If you live in Soviet Russia, you have other problems than vitamin D. You have vitamin C as communism. Best vitamin out there. All right, so we're just getting over all of these cells so we can focus on what matters. What matters. We're short a little bit of vitamin A. I might fix that before we proceed. Short a little bit of vitamin K. It's close enough, though. Just eat a little bit more kale and be fine. Or whatever green leafy vegetable of your... Are green leaves, are those vegetables? Cabbage is a vegetable, right? Yeah, I think so. It's kind of weird. I feel like leaves should be their own category. Like vegetable, what the hell is Like you got root vegetables, you have leafy vegetables. I'm sure there's other types of vegetables. You have... I mean, there's only so many parts of the plant. There's the roots, there's the stalk, stem, leaves, flower. Okay. Anyways, I digress. So here we go. This is what we need, and it's not that much. It's not that much. 1 whole cup of flour of buckwheat, 2 medium potatoes. So here's your serving size at the top. And this is how much of that serving you need. So if I have 1 medium potato as my serving size, and I need 2 of those, that means I need 2 medium potatoes. Fractional also works. So if I have 0.25 of sunflower seeds, 0.25 of 1 cup of sunflower seeds, that means a 1/4 cup. That's all that means. Actually, 1 second. I've got to get my water. 1 minute. It's like the 3rd stream in a row I forgot my water. I've severely regretted it every time. All right. All right. So, 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds, roasted peanuts, 1/2 cup, 1/4 cup of pumpkin seeds. We need 6 eggs. We need 1/2 pound of lamb meat. We need 2 cups of sheep milk a day, and we need 1 pepper or 45 grams. I'll tell you something from experience. That many peppers is not hard to get. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to now grab these. I'm just going to grab all these cells. I'm going to put on this sheet, this empty sheet. There we go. Oh, crap. It's grabbed all the ones in between. There's a paste special or something like that. All right, tell you what. I'm just going to insert some rows up here. So we're going to do... Sweet Lord. This spreadsheet is built on... This spreadsheet is built on sand and sticks, my friend. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to add some cells at the very bottom. I got some rows. All right. And we're going to just do estimated land usage. So what we're going to do is for every item that we're trying to eat, how much land do we need to produce this? Now, I'm going to review the chats at intervals, but I'm not going to like live view them because I have trouble doing that sometimes. I will pop in and take a look once in a while like this. Boop. See? No chats. Perfect. Well, it's not perfect. I'd love it if you guys chatted more. But here we go. So we want to discover buckwheat flour, 1 cup of buckwheat flour. What do we need for that? Let's say that for 1 cup of buckwheat flour, we're going to need, what do you say, like 1.5 cups of buckwheat. So I'm going to add how much we need per year. Okay. So we're going to add estimated, what do you call it when you have a quota? Estimated quota growth. Actually, just put estimated annual quota. Annual quota. There we go. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so it's easy for you guys to see. So the estimated annual quota, obviously this is just going to be this times 365. Okay. And I'm just going to stretch that out all the way across. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. And I'm going to put in here, so that's 2 medium potatoes. Okay, sunflower seeds. All right, good. Okay. So that has the number of these things. So we're going to take this one by one because the serving sizes are a little bit unusual. And the annual quotas here for the buckwheat flours, we need 1 cup of buckwheat flour every day, which means 365 days a year. We're going to need 365 cups of buckwheat flour. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up crop yield buckwheat. And this is going to vary quite a bit. And usually what you get is a university extension, Purdue. Thanks, Purdue. There we go. Here's Purdue. They have a university extension page on buckwheat. So this is an academic paper. It was written in 1989. So I would assume things get better rather than worse. The true sign of a fallen empire is when we get worse at growing crops and not better. A little bit about buckwheat. We got the stupid Latin name. I'm not a Roman. I'm not a man who puts very nice people on crosses. So I'm not Latin. I'm not Roman. Has been grown in America since colonial days, and the crop was once common on farms in the northeastern and north central United States. Production reached a peak in 1866, at which time the grain was common livestock feed and was in demand for making flour. The cool thing, side note, about buckwheat flour is that you don't have to separate the sort of groat from the husk. So unlike oatmeal, like oats, which you have to do a very lengthy separation stage and that's after winnowing. Winnowing is when you throw the seed and the hay up in the air, more or less. You provide some sort of agitation and biasing. All the straw and the hay kind of floats away on the wind, and the seeds just fall straight down. And so that's a filtering method. All other filtering methods of agitation and biasing are considered winnowing. So there are winnowing machines. That's You're going to have to winnow with oats. You're going to have to winnow with grains of all sorts. But separating the husk is optional for buckwheat. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of better to keep the husk on because that's where a lot of the nutrients are. And that's what actually gives buckwheat flour its distinctive, like dark color, right? So when you buy like soba noodles made of buckwheat, that's why they're a dark noodle. It's very good. All right, so the leading buckwheat states were New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. Notice that almost all of these are in the north. So if you need a northern hardy plant, this is it. I've grown mine in the peak of summer in Tennessee, so it can take really hot heats, but it doesn't mind being in a lower hardiness region, like a colder area. I always get the hardiness regions confused, like is lower colder or is lower? Yeah, lower is colder. That's right. I have to think about it for a second. All right, so we had a resurgence of popularity in the 1970s. It was brought on by demand for commercially prepared breakfast cereal and by exports to Japan for making buckwheat noodles. Boom. The boom was due to the nutritional excellence of buckwheat. So there you go. Usually grains are considered bad. Empty carbs, that sort of thing. If you look at the nutritional information for buckwheat, which is on my nutritional template, you will see that it actually does not have a ton of calories. It's more of fiber because of the husk. And it's got a lot of vitamins and it has a lot of minerals. So more or less this thing is like it's almost like a once a day vitamin, vitamin and mineral pill you take, except it's in a more digestible form, which is what we were meant to eat, which is seeds. Okay. Here you actually have the percentage of different amino acids. So it's turned relatively protein rich, which is nice, but we want to see what yields are. Buckwheat is another multi-purpose crop in that you can use it as feed for livestock, obviously. It is a satisfactory partial substitute for other grains in feeding livestock. It has a lower feeding value than wheat, oats, barley, rye, or corn. Okay, so it's not quite as good as those ones. Wheat is good. Wheat is good to grow. Barley is easy to grow. I've done that one. Rye, I've kind of had trouble with, and it's kind of hard to get a good seed strain of rye. And corn, of course, is corn. That grows like crazy. Corn fed is fine. All right, but we want to see what yields we have. Obviously, the anecdotally, and by the way, anecdotes are useful. I don't know why people throw anecdotes out. Like, oh, I want the data. Show me the data. Anecdotes are useful, dude. An anecdote is just a single data point. Like, you're going to throw, how many of those single data points are you going to throw out before you consider yourself at malfeasance of, just ignoring the data, right? So my data point is that the bees loved it. The bees were really into buckwheat. I don't know if you guys know this, but bees only visit one flower type on a trip. So if they're on a buckwheat trip, they're only going to go to buckwheat flowers. If they're on azalea trip, they're only going to go to azaleas for that entire trip. So if you don't have enough of them, if the more you have of one type of thing, the more bees tend to like it. All right, so I want to probably here we go. So here's fertilizer and lime requirements. So this would go into a further study that I would do, where I would take a look and see how much fertilizer you'd need. And honestly, you need to understand. So this is the soil test. They put it on low, medium, and high, and then very high. It's kind of reductive to bring your whole soil test down to just like this, or this, like low, medium, high. Obviously, you need more data. You need more information. So what I'd suggest to you guys is to actually test your soil and then follow the fertilizer's recommendation. So the fertilizer sack or fertilizer calculators on the internet will tell you how much of a specific fertilizer you're going to need based on your value. So this is nice. It's notional. It kind of, you can compare it to other charts from these extensions because they'll have similar charts to this. So you'll be able to see if this is like a really hungry plant. It looks like it's always going to need nitrogen, pretty much. That's what I'm getting here. It's always going to need 30 pounds of nitrogen per acre. It's going to need, at most 80 pounds an acre of, what is this, phosphorus oxide? I don't know what that is. Phosphorus, oxygen, whatever that is. And there's potassium, potassium oxide. So I want crop yields. Here we go. That's what I want. That's what I want. So what we want right now is the number of pounds or bushels. Sometimes this is in bushels per acre. Now this is in buckwheat yields in, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Buckwheat yields in Wisconsin and Minnesota typically range from 500 to 2,000 pounds per acre. With good management and favorable weather, buckwheat should yield 1,200 to 16 pounds per acre in a cool, moist climate that is common in western Wisconsin or Minnesota. No yield trials have been conducted in Wisconsin in recent years, and especially since this was written in, well, it said 1989 was when this is written, but that data point is from 1992. But still, like here's their references actually in the back. Yeah, good Nort. Yeah, 86, 80, 81, 88. I'm assuming that things haven't changed that much. Soil is soil, buckwheat's buckwheat. The strains may have evolved a little bit, but usually if the strains evolve to be significant, they get rebranded by the seed dealers, the seed manufacturers. I don't know what you call them, seed breeders. They get rebranded as something different. So here we go. I'm going to pick the least productive one as my test, just so we are clear. Okay, so the Mencken yielded 1,000 pounds per acre. Okay, day of first bloom, height inches, number of seeds per pound. Okay, yes, this tells the number of seeds per pound. Okay, sorry, my cat was doing something. We're gonna now. Normally, what you'd do is you'd go ahead and buy a bunch of buckwheat and weigh this yourself. But how many? Like how much does? I need to convert this pounds into cups because how many pounds of buckwheat per cup of flour? I don't know. Normally, you just do this experimentally. Buckwheat flour pound to U.S. cup converter. Oh my. All right. So buckwheat flour from pound to U.S. cup. Okie dokie. All right. So if I wanted 3.7, I wish I could do this the other way around. 3.78 cups per pound. So if I want, how much did I say? Was it just 1 cup? Oh, wow. Okay. 5. Getting close. 2, 6. All right. So I'm going to say 2.7. There we go. 0.27 pounds per day. That's how much. It's 1 1/50th. So I would, again, this is just an online calculator. I've not verified this. You should verify this by experience because your buckwheat seeds are going to grow to different sizes. And the size of your buckwheat seeds are going to determine the packing factor. If you want an example of what that would look like, imagine you had a buckwheat seed the size of your thumb, which is never going to happen, but just for illustrative purposes about packing factor, let's say you had a cup of buckwheat that is the size of your thumb, like that big, right? And you put them all in a little cup. Like there'd be a lot more empty space in there than if your buckwheat was the size of a grain of sand. There'd be a lot less air in there. I mean, to my common sense, it would be. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If you wanted to go like ultra microscopic, imagine if every buckwheat seed was the size of an atom and you just filled a cup with it. It's going to weigh a lot more than like huge buckwheat seeds. So in other words, I'm saying your mileage is going to vary. So I'm going to say, for this buckwheat, I'm going to make it in comments. I'm not going to make this clean, unfortunately. Equals how many pounds? How many pounds do we need? So it was, what's 1/50th? Let me get my calculator out. Calculator. 150 is like 0.02, right? Yeah, okay. I doubt my internal math. Times. Wait. Totally wrong. Fraction, what? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let me just put this thing in raw. These numbers are screwing me up. Okay, so 1 cup is roughly, what was I, 0.27? Well, 6.5. Okay, 0.265. So 0.265 pounds equals 0.265 times cups. You kidding me? No. Stop making noises. Excel, what the heck, man? Times, and then you go up that cell. Jeez Louise. There we go. And I'm going to comment this and say, this is pounds of buckwheat. All right. So we need to grow about 100 pounds of buckwheat, in other words. So now we're cooking with some gas, because now we have, if you need 100 pounds of buckwheat per person, and it's 1,000 pounds of buckwheat per acre, simple mental math means that you need 1/10 of an acre per person to grow all this buckwheat. Okay? So if you have 1,003, and I'm going to put in a comment here, because I usually like to label the rows, but I've got this whole matrix here, and everything is going to be different, so this is going to be a nightmare. What I did previously was I made a separate page to do all this, but I just want to do this in real time with you guys here. So this is pounds per acre. Okay. So if you take so if I do unit analysis, let me just grab paint, because I'm just going to write this out because I'm a tactile guy, I'm a tactile dude. If I have, let me go thicker than that. That's what she said. Am I still thick? Yes, I am. Let's make it red. I like red. Okay. If I have X pounds per acre, and I have Y pounds, by unit analysis, what I need to do is I need to take Y, which is the number of pounds, and I need to make those pounds cancel out. I need an acre on the top. To get an acre on the top, you need to take pounds over acre and then divide by that. So I'm going to take, what the unit analysis comes out to is pounds, and all that divided by X pounds per acre. I'm just going to put acre as A because it's a little easier. Now, the pounds are going to cancel out. Boom. Because you're dividing pounds by pounds. But the thing is, now what you have is you have 1 over acre. Well, if I take, let's take an easy number, like 1 over 10, right? If I take 1 divided by 1 over 10, that ends up coming out to 10. Like this ends up flipping around. Oh man, I wish I could show that mathematically, but doing that in real time would probably make me look like a fool. But I just got to take it on faith right now that this is going to equal out to Y over X acres. So I need to take the per acreage. So I need to take the yield that I want divided by the pounds per acreage. Okay. So the yield that I want is 96. I'm going to divide it by that. So that is the number of acres that I want. I'm going to label that acreage for growing desired buckwheat. And the best way to confirm an equation is to start throwing some different inputs into it and seeing if it corresponds the way you want. So right now it's taking 1/10 of an acre, 0.096, round that up to 0.1 acres. Let's say if I just said I want 2 cups of buckwheat. I'm feeling frisky. So now I need 0.2. Okay, so that makes sense. If I want 0, does it come out to 0? Yes, it does. All the math works great. So our incredible machine, the great thing about teaching a computer how to do math is you only have to do math once, and then the computer will do it forever for you. And all you have to do is remember what you did, hence the comments. Just leave the breadcrumbs. That's all you want. We'll get out of this forest. Okay. 1 medium potato. What I would do to find out the yield per potatoes is I would look at, actually, let me just look up yield for potatoes. Why not? Potato harvest and storage. 25 tons per hectare. Oh my gosh. All right, this guy's saying 22,000 pounds per acre. Again, your research is going to vary. The parameters you stick into this equation are going to change depending on your research source and your soil, how much fertilizer you want to use, everything else. Oh, this is MI Gardener. MI Gardener is really sus to me. It seems like he's just growing in the same backyard all the time, and he's always growing a lot of different stuff. And I always wonder if he's just like burying it or something. I don't know. Maybe his backyard's a lot bigger than I think, but it looks pretty sus to me. All right, so this fella right here, when it comes down to it, 22,000 pounds per acre. I mean, I'll press X to doubt. No, I don't want to sign up to your stupid newsletter, dude. I just want to see how much pounds per acre. I wish this thing would only ask me if it wants to be on my new. Okay, first off, UI design. All right, UI design. Pop-ups should go over here. You got real estate over here. You got it over here. Make a thing say, want to sign up to our newsletter? And show me a thumbnail of what your newsletter looks like, right? Don't make it go in front of me. That's like if I'm trying to read it's like I'm trying to read a book, and then someone slips an advertisement for the rest of the series in front of my face while I'm trying to read the book. Like, that would be seen as rude. It's rude when a website does it. It's rude when, a person does it. I'm going to self.nutrition.com or nutritiondata.self.com. Or better, actually, you know what? I have the link for everything here. So what I want to find out now is how many pounds one medium potato is. And that data actually exists. So, I didn't I didn't include the link. I am my own worst enemy yet again. I'm just going to put in potato. Potato. There we go. Vegetables and vegetable products. By the way, this is nutritiondata.self.com. This pulls from the USDA database. The USDA database is based on research the USDA does. Obviously, it's more commercially oriented. Your mileage will vary. I highly suggest people go out and, I'm probably going to do this next year. I'm going to crowdfund or self-fund sending a few different homegrown produce to a nutrition lab to compare with the USDA, because all of this data I have is assuming the USDA data is applicable to a homesteader, someone who grows their own food. But all the data is gathered from commercial farms, which, if you know your research, has been degrading in nutritional value for decades, if not a century. Which means that this data is worth doo-doo poo-poo to me. Like, why do I care what a commercial potato is, right? In terms of nutrition. How am I going to base my crop yields on something I don't care about, right? It doesn't make any sense. But, the only thing worse than the only thing worse than bad data is sometimes no data. Although, sometimes bad data is way worse. The thing is, if I run under the assumption that commercially grown food is less nutritious than homestead grown food, that means that these yields that I'll calculate will be an overestimate of how much land I need, not an underestimate. Like, the direction is going to be in one direction. There's going to be one direction. Everything I derive from this is going to be an overestimate of how much yield I need. I might only need like half a cup of buckwheat because my homegrown buckwheat is so much better than, commercially bought buckwheat. Let's see. I don't want raw, obviously. Baked flesh without salt. Here we go. Let's say you're baking your potato. All right. And the problem is my potato data, I might have chose boiled. Cooked in skin flesh without salt. Let's try that. Oh, no. Where did I get this data from? All right, this medium potato. Like, there's obviously the size isn't here. The size is serving size. So I'm going to have to do, did I base it on raw? I might have based it on raw. Let's see if the numbers match. Okay. If I did, that's kind of silly. There's a lot of vitamin C in a raw potato. As soon as you cook it, though, that's going to be a different story. Okay. So this is not a raw potato. I'm not silly. Right? Yeah. 42 milligrams of vitamin C. That's one raw. So if you just sit there and just tank a raw potato, assuming you can actually digest it, which I doubt you can, you get all your vitamin C out for the day. What? That's crazy. Nutrition's nuts. Nutrition's crazy. All right. Well, I do not remember. All right. Potatoes boiled, cooked. What is cooled without skin, in skin, without salt, right? Is that the one I did? Here's the baked skin without salt. Baked flesh without salt. One of these has got to be it. Oh, here he goes. 1 potato medium. No, I'm sorry. That's the raw one. I'm not doing raw. I'm not advocating for raw potatoes. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, well, I've lost it. All right, let's just choose 1 potato. I don't know. Let's say that 1 potato is like 156 grams. I'm sorry, I disappointed all of you. I've massively screwed up. I did not contain a link to that. I'll have to update this sheet. Dadgummit. So 156 grams to pounds. So we know what a potato weighs according to the database. It's about 0.34 pounds, 0.34 pounds. Kind of went a little bit Vietnamese there. 0.34 pounds. My voice goes up and down. Okay. So the estimated amount of poundage, all right, so we're going to try to go for poundage here, is 0.34 pounds times the number of potatoes. All right, so that's how many pounds of potatoes we're trying to grow per day. Here, boom. So, what? Oh, that's silly. I did a silly. Never mind. I meant to say that. There we go. So we're going to take that 730 medium potatoes we need to grow in a year, multiply it by the number of pounds per potato. So there we go. Pounds per potato. Now we need to do pounds per acre, and we can do, then we can yield how much acreage we need. The potatoes will cancel. We'll neutralize the potatoes. Now that website said 22,000 pounds per acre. Is that bonkers? 22,000 pounds per acre. Now, obviously, this is assuming that you are, this is assuming that you are matching commercial quality. Now, that's not necessarily going to happen, especially if you avoid using fertilizer. I'm sorry, but you're not going to get as good. If you could get as good as a farm without using fertilizer, then farms wouldn't use fertilizer, right? Is that bad logic? Maybe I'm full of bad logic. 22,000 pounds. And we are going to do the same thing we did over here. Just going to drag it. Okay. Again, 1/10 of an acre. I'm seeing a pattern here. By the way, if you want to find out what 1/10 of an acre is, oh, wrong window. It's not the. If you want to find out, how about 0.1 acre to square foot? Sure. So if you want 1/10 of an acre to grow the buckwheat you need, and you need the 1/10 of an acre to grow the potatoes you need, which you obviously do. And by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but an acre, I don't know if this is a wives' tale or not, is that an acre is based on how much land a single horse can plow in a day. So it helps you plan. That's the reason why English units are great, is because a lot of English units are actually based on utility. So although the math and conversion is sometimes difficult, the units are actually built so you don't have to convert them ever, right? Like this, it wouldn't surprise me if a bushel is how much of some like wheat or something you can grow on a single acre. I don't know. But usually these things actually had a purpose, right? So an acre would help you plan. So rather than saying like, oh, I've got, 1.67 square kilometers, you just say I have 10 acres, therefore I need 10 days to plow this. Okay? So there you go. I'm going to label this as acres for potatoes. Potatoes. All right. So back to that little bit of math I was going to show you. So 4,356 square feet. If I pop that in my calculator, 4,356, and take the square root of that, that's only 66 feet in one direction or another. So 1/10 of an acre is 66 feet in two directions. That's not a lot. That's, in yards, that's 22 yards, which is about, if a yard is a large pace, that's 22 paces. So there you go. Not very big, is it? You could probably actually process that by hand. You don't have to buy a BCS tractor. Now, of course, this is per person. All right, this is nutritional data per person. Oh, and in a similar degree, we're going to go over sunflowers now. So let's just kill some of these tabs. Don't need them. Oh, actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that potato page. Save it for later. There we go. Kill everything else. Even the buckwheat. Even the younglings. All right, now we have sunflower yields. Sunflower seed yields. I think this one was a lot more difficult to find. What is the sunflower yield? Yeah, sure. Volume and oh my gosh, yeah. See, we got 1 bushel to liters conversion. Everything is dumb. All units of conversion are stupid. You're gonna have to convert anyway at some point. You might as well just get used to it. All right, give me pounds. Give me bushels. Give me something. Let me turn down the volume for goodness sakes. Pounds, bushels. Okay. How many acres? Tell me acreage. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is for oilseed sunflower. Not necessarily what we want. Depending on the year, in dry conditions without irrigation in the south, if it rains only in spring during. Okay, so you'll get normally about 70 bushels per acre, right? Or like 2.5 tons per hectare. But if in poor conditions, you'll get about, 25 to 60 bushels per hectare. If you irrigate, you'll have a better time of it. Trust me, I've grown sunflowers. You get a lot out of them, a lot more than you think. The Mammoth variety from Kitchen Garden Seeds is probably the best sunflower for growing sunflower seeds. But there you go. Here we go. That's what we want. Pounds per acre. Let's use the lower estimate. Screw it. Let's say you're gonna have a bad year. We don't plan for good years. We plan for bad years. So the old 357 Magnum over here, 357 pounds per acre. All right, so that was actually faster than we did. And this is crap data, right? I've not verified it. I've not cross-referenced it. So cross-referencing means that a bunch of experts agree. Verified it means now I agree with the experts. Like I have done something to make my anecdote line up with their data. That's important because if your anecdote doesn't line up with their data, then screw their data. Like your life means something. So don't worry if you fit into their data or not. Like if I was an edge case, if you were an edge case on some sort of pharmaceutical, I wouldn't want to take the pharmaceutical, like no matter how good the data was. So take that what you will. All right. So 46 grams of, all right. So good. The conversion is actually here. I was smart. I actually put how much 1 cup of sunflower seeds weigh, which is apparently with husks, by the way. 46 grams. I can quickly convert that to pounds. 46 grams to pounds, which is going to be a tiny amount of pounds. So 1/10. So I'm just going to put 0.1 pounds. I'll be off by a little bit, but there's a lot of fudge in this factor. Okay. Sorry, this is 0.1. Pretty much this is 0.1 pounds per cup times the 91 cups, which means we only need 9 pounds. And if you want the yield of 357, pounds per acre, 357. I wish there was a way to put units in Excel. Like if there's scientific Excel, pounds per acre. No, I hit Alt. Everything's gone. Thesaurus. Okay. Desired pounds of sunflower seeds. Okay. And we're just going to extend this out because I'm using a similar template. And boom. 0.02 acres. So 0.02 acres of that. And I'm going to keep a running total. I'll take a sum total acreage. Okay. Which equals the sum of that. I divided by 0. What? How is it saying 0? I just want sum. Okay, fine. Since Excel doesn't want to do it the smart way, let's do it the stupid way. Bop, biddy 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 bop. Can't even add stuff together right, Excel. How am I supposed to trust you? That can't be right. What is happening here? How is that? How is that right? Okay, so you have 0.03. I get that. That's a small amount. Oh, no, actually, that is right. I suck at reading numbers. I wonder why. I wonder why my mental capacity might be hampered tonight. Okay. I was thinking that I missed a decimal place on that one. Okay, so my order of magnitude was off in mentally. So you couldn't see the worry because I just smile through the pain like any man does. You know, tax season's coming up. I know a lot of you guys are going to be doing that. I didn't label this one. This is pounds per acre. And if I was a good boy, I'd put the link. But I'm not going to do that because I don't trust that number anyway. But I'm just going to use it because I want to exemplify what's going on. The difference between what you'd be doing and what I'm doing right now is that you would be going out and looking at your own resources. All right. So we got 0.13 acres in use. That is like nothing. Okay, so if I were to go back here and say, what is 1 acre to square feet? Go on. What are you doing? 43,560, right? So if I said, I want to convert this to, that's acreage. I want to convert this to square feet. And I want to say, let's say, I'm just going to put dimension. I don't know what else to put it here. So anyway, square feet is going to be equal 43,560. Got to put the equal sign in, right? 43,560 square feet per acre times 0.13 acres means that we have 5,000 square feet. And I'm going to make this equal the square root, right? SQRT, the old squirt of 5,800. And there we go. Bada bing. So 70. Okay, that's what I was expecting because my field outside was calculated and I had about 75 feet in both dimensions. And I was, okay, that actually corresponds. We're on our way, man. We're on our way. So we got peanuts next. Roasted peanuts, 1 cup. Let's hit it. First off, let's go back to the values because I bet for my peanut, I actually have the link back. Here we go. Roasted peanuts 1. Oh, no, I clicked on it. It's going to take forever. Oh, wow, that was way faster than usual. What the heck? Okay. It'll have the serving size in here. So 1 cup is 146 grams. So that's good. So now I have to look up yield size for peanuts. Yield for peanuts. There we go. The FBI is like, man, this guy's really growing some stuff. He's growing some basic B word. Why have peanut yields doubled in the past 50 years? Well, I'll have to read that later, but rotation is key to be. All right, so yeah, you go. Oh, yeah, by the way, any acreage I give you, multiply it by the number of seasons you want between rotations. Okay. Acre. That's all I care about. Tell me the acreage. Oh, here we go. Boom. Showing data from Georgia, Howell said the average yield for non-rotated peanuts was 2,840 pounds per acre. I'm good. 2,840 pounds per acre. That's all I want. I just want pounds per acre, baby. The key to getting data efficiently is knowing what data you want and then ignoring everything else. It's actually ignoring lots of things you don't care about is kind of the secret to life. What was that? 2,800 something or other? 2,840. All right. 2,840 pounds per acre of peanuts. Pounds per acre of peanuts. Okay. Obviously, this is a commercial farm. Your yields are probably going to be half of that. So whatever you get, double it. Having a safety factor of 2 is really good. I'm going to read comments here in a little bit because I'm totally like just doing my thing here. I hope you guys don't mind too much. But I'm going to take this. That cup was, oh, it's on the website. Okay. So that cup was how many grams? 146 grams. So we're going to take, I'm going to reuse some of my tabs at least. All right, 146 grams, 2 pounds. How many pounds? 0.32 pounds. Okay, so we're going to take that yield, the number of servings, 1 cup, and we're going to multiply it by 0.32. That was 32. That's a lot more than 0.32. That is 2 orders of magnitude off. Boop. There we go. What'd I do? Oh, once a 0, once a leading 0. Okay, fine. You're just going to do me like that? Yeah, just... Oh. I don't know why you'd think that. Okay, so 58 pounds of peanuts is total of what we want. 0.02. It's like nothing. By the way, 0.02 acres. All right, now that I have the number of acres of square feet memorized, 0.020563 times 43,560 square feet per acre. That means we need about 900 square feet of peanut growth. Okay, well, guess what? We're going to square root that now. Squirt. So that's 30. Wait, what? Yeah, 30 feet by 30 feet. Yeah, okay. It's big in terms of house size. Like some people's, like that might be half your house, but like 30 feet by 30 feet is not very much. Again, it all aggregates in. All right, we're almost getting there. So what I'm gonna do here is for the pumpkins, so pumpkin seeds are not a thing that people normally grow. There's not gonna be good yield data on that, so I need to fill that blank in with my own personal experience. So this year is gonna be pumpkin seed growing season. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the pumpkin flesh. I don't know, make a pie, feed my sheep. You can eat it. It's got vitamin A in it. Vitamin A is a dime a dozen. You don't really care. What you want in terms of eggs equals this times 2. Right? So if I'm eating 3 servings of egg, which is 2 eggs or 100 grams worth of eggs, scrambled, okay, that's going to lead to 1,095 servings, and each of those is going to be multiplied by 2 because there's 2 eggs in each of those. All right, now the number of yields, and this one's not going to be per acre. This is going to be per chicken. We're going to have a slightly different mathematical formula here. What do I want to put this as? So this is the yield, right? I want how many eggs per acre pretty much, if I want to make this all line up, okay? How many eggs per acre? Now, one chicken needs about 450 square feet of yard space if you're free ranging them. That one I know from experience. So you're not going to get that from anywhere else. And one chicken has about an 80% chance of producing an egg on any given day, but let's bring that down to 70 to make it more realistic and include the lack of eggs in winter. So we're going to grab my calculator, and I'm going to do 0.7. So that's the 70% chance of getting an egg on any given day. And we're going to invert that because you need that many more chickens. Okay, so that's 1.43. We're going to multiply that by the 450 square feet. Okay, so you're going to need on average 643, so I'm rounding up to the nearest square foot, 643 square feet of land per egg produced per day. Okay, see if you follow that. But this is land. All right, so 643. So I want 643 square feet to acre. That's what I want. That's 0.015 acres per egg. Now we're cooking. Because I've gotten the chicken out. I've said how many chickens does it take to make 1 egg per day on average? That's 1.4 chickens. Okay. Now, every chicken needs about 450 square feet of yard space to be happy and comfortable if you're really coddling your chickens. You can also put your chickens in a cage like a barbarian, like a psychopath, like a weirdo, like a freak, like someone who's running a business and just doesn't care. Like if you want to just be a Ferengi about it, you can. But 450 square feet per chicken makes them comfortable and makes them happy, makes them productive, and allows them to socialize. They like to forage different places every day, so they like to see different things. They will get some nutrition, but chickens are kind of I don't know how much. I've never did a crop study to see how much food my chickens could forage in a day. So I have no idea how much food they're eating, except for the food I feed them. Okay. But anyways, it's 643 it's 0.015. Let's say 0.015. I'll just copy paste this whole thing though. Acres to get you 1 egg per day on average. Okay. There's a lot of complicated unit conversion happening there, but I don't know. Replay this section over and over again until you get it. Okay. So if I want to yield 1 egg, so this is usually pounds per acre, but I want like eggs per acre, right? So what I want to do is invert this, because right now this is in acres per egg. Let's make eggs per acre. So I'm going to take that. So if I had an entire acre of just nothing but chickens, other than a nightmare, I would also have 68 eggs per acre per day. So that's per day, right? So I need to multiply by 365. Okay. So that's, geez, Louise. Dang. I'm going to put a pin in that. That's, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's 24,726 eggs per acre per year if I let them free range. Okay. Dang. I'm just going to put that in. Okay. 24,760 on paper. Unbraided. 726, not 60. You fool. You damned handsome fool. You've killed us all. All right. That's how many. And now I've got everything in common units. This is pounds per acre, pounds per acre, pounds per acre, pounds per acre, eggs per acre. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 Which means I could just drag this equation over. Just sounds about right. Sounds about right. I spend about 0.08 acres on my chicken area per person, right? So if I just slap that bad boy in, I'm just going to do 0.09. How about that? 0.09 acre to square feet. Square footer, why not? It's about 3,000 square feet. Square root of that's about 200 feet by 200 feet. So if you set aside a 200 foot by 200 foot area, you'll have all the food you need. Wait, is that right? No, it's 20 by 20. I'm doubting myself. Got to live stream that mental math. Boom, 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 boom. Okie dokie. That. Squirt it. That was way different than I thought. Oh, I'm an idiot. 3,600 is the closest square root. So what I do to mentally do square roots is I'll take the closest number that's a square root, both above and below, and I will try to do a quadratic interpolation in my head. In other words, I sort of intuit a parabola in there. So it's like, okay, if there's 30, let's say I've got 3,700, right? Well, that's going to be closer to 3,600, and the square root of that is 60. So it's going to be closer to that. Now, if you're getting really close to, what's the next one above that? 4,900? All right, if I did 4,900 square root, 70. Yeah, okay, that'd be more towards 70, but it's on a curve, right? So things are going to be more towards 60, more towards 60, more towards 60, and then it's going to start shooting up towards 70 faster. Anyways, no way of intuiting, but it doesn't work if you don't remember your square root tables. So there you go. You got to use swap as well as heap, and you got to use your RAM. It can't all be RAM, okay? You don't have that much RAM in your brain. You got rote memorization plus the ability to think quickly and just grab at straws and whatever, resources you have. That's what's going to get you through. Okay, so what was I talking about? Okay, so it's about 62 square feet. Sorry, 62 times 62. So that's, in terms of yard space, that's not very much. Like, if I were to fence that in, okay, so all the chickens that I need to live, as I frantically look for the calculator, okay, so the perimeter of that area is 62 feet plus 62 plus 62 plus 62, all right? So there you go, 248 square feet. And if I went over rural king, hate the word rural. Why do they make, it's so cruel that these people have made all these country people say rural, which is the most difficult. Rural. You sound like an idiot every time you say it. It's part of the globalist scheme to make everyone, I'm going to say welded wire fence. Let's see if this gets me where I want. Boom. That's 50 footer, 25 footer. Where's the big stuff? I want the big stuff. This comes in like 200 foot lengths, man. Dang, this stuff got expensive. What? This stuff used to be like the same price for like 200 feet. Oh my God. I'm glad I bought all my fencing 2 years ago. I feel so bad because I'm coming here with information to help you guys. And I'm like, yeah, you should have been here 2 years ago when I bought everything that I need for the next lifetime. Ooh, sorry guys. Rabbit. I don't know, man. This could be different when you go into store. Rural King. I'm going to call it Royal King. I'm tired of rural. I sound like an idiot every time I say it. Let's do Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply. Metal. Yeah, by the way, if you want a really cheap barn, get a metal carport and just put the front and the back on it and put the walls down on it. Like, that's a barn. That's a barn right there. You can fit like a 20 sheep in that thing. Okay, and it's $1,500. Look at it. Like, you got to think outside the box, okay? The survivors are the scroungers. You got to scrounge, okay? I'm sorry. Let's look at fencing. Fence, wire, and netting. That's more of what I wanted. Okay, 4 foot by 100 is like $100. There we go. 330 feet. I think this stuff might be a bit coarse. This is for goats and sheep. You don't have to buy Purpose brand, okay? Chickens, you need something smaller than 4 inches by 4 inches because that's how big our fence is, and the chickens can squeeze through it, especially the hens, little fat hens, little fat fatties, nasty fat hobbits. This looks okay. Like $200. Okay, 330 feet. So you have an extra 80 feet, and it's $200. So for $200, you've built all the fence that you need. You don't need to electrify the fence unless you're trying to keep predators out. I don't know what the spacing is on this. Ooh, vertical spacing is 6 inches. That might not be great. What's the horizontal spacing? Spacing? 3 to 4. Okay, you might be able to work with this. I don't know. All right, well, let's just say just for cost purposes, $200 to $300 will get you what you need, okay? So $200, $300, and you're set up for eggs for per person for life. That's what I'm getting out of this. That's not bad. If you, how many cartons of eggs is that? Like, what is eggs going for? Is like a dozen going for $6 now? So if I said, let's say $200 divided by 6, right? Let's say you bought 30. That's worth 33 dozens of eggs. Like, how many dozens of eggs do you buy? Like 1 a week? So after 8 months, it's already paid for. So quit being a cheapskate. Quit being lazy. Go buy a bunch of chickens for like $20 each that lay eggs already. Build a box. Like, just take a dog house. Just take a dog house, slam a dowel rod through it so they have something to stand on, and just put a door on the front of it and just call it a day. Like, go buy some hinges and some plywood and just like totally ghetto rig yourself a chicken coop out of, because a chicken coop is just a box. Put it on some stilts. Okay, so it's off the ground so predators can't get to the door. And you let the door work as a ramp for the chickens to get up, or give them like a rope bridge or something, and get yourself free eggs for life, right? The feed calculation I did last time came to the conclusion that every single egg is worth about 12 cents worth of feed. 12 cents. So a carton of eggs, like a dozen eggs, is $1.40 for you. It's $6 for everybody else. So you're paying a quarter of the price. And you also have this massive plethora of eggs, which you can then sell for a profit because you have free-ranged, farm-raised eggs. You could make money doing that. Kidding me? Anyways, I'm out of touch with egg prices, though. I haven't bought eggs in a while. I have not bought eggs in like 2 years. Anyways, where were we? Okay. So bada bing, bada boom. I'm going to say if you want 1 pound of lamb meat, these are things I'm going to fill in from memory, so we're going to start cruising really fast here. So lamb meat is, so that's the number of pounds of lamb meat. You don't have to adjust it. It looks good already. Okay, so I'm just going to say equals that. I'm just going to duplicate the cell. Per lamb, you're going to need, a lamb probably takes about a quarter of an acre per sheep per year if you want them free ranging, right? I've got 5 acres. I have 5 acres total, which is split into 2.5 acre sections, and that means that, and I've got 4 lambs, and I had 5 lambs until I slaughtered one of them, and they have tons of space, like way too much space. In fact, they kind of get themselves into trouble. The amount they need is not much, like 1/4 acre per head will do it. So, okay, this is where the math gets a little complicated. So I got 86 pounds of meat off of my lamb, right? So if I want this, how many lambs am I eating? 182 divided by 86. So I'm eating 2.1 lambs per year, okay? And it takes a 1/4 of an acre per lamb. So that means I need 0.53. Actually, yeah, so I need to get that amount of meat, I need 0.53 acres. So I already know the answer to it. I did all the math, 0.53 acres. So I need about half an acre to get that done. So there we go. So we haven't even broken a single acre to feed a person, right? We haven't even broken it. And the thing is, like, a lot of this stuff can be combined, right? And these are assuming the worst possible yields, you know. And it's also assuming you only have one growing season. You probably have multiple. Anyways, for milk, that one is kind of the same. Like if you want 730 cups of milk, sheep will do 2 liters of milk per day for about 280 days, right? So that means 280 effectively. If you have one sheep, you only get milk for a certain part of the year. So 280 days out of 365 days. So you got 0.76 duty cycle, right, per sheep. And you're going to get about 2 liters per day during that time. So we're just going to take the duty cycle and multiply it by 2 liters per day. We're going to go and convert 1.53 liters to cups. 53 liters. Oh, yep. Liters to cup. Liters to cup. 6 point. Okay. So you're going to get equivalent of about 6.5, 6.47. So 6.47 cups per day. That includes the bad duty cycle. Obviously, you can ultra pasteurize this stuff at home, so you don't have to homogenize it. You don't have to do any of this other stuff that makes the milk not great. But that's how much you're going to get per lamb per day. So we're going to multiply that by 3. I'm sorry, we already. Okay, on average, because we're taking into account the loss. So 6.47 times 365, right? So this includes the time off. So a year, on average, you're going to get 2,361.55 cups per sheep, okay? And that means I'm just going to put this down here as like cups per sheep. How about that? So cups per sheep is going to be that much. And of course, it includes the comma because the calculator is dumb. So that's how many cups per sheep, which means you need the number of sheep that you need equals this divided by that. Okay. And we're going to multiply that all by the number of acres per sheep. So a 1/4 acre per sheep, and you don't need that many, like you only need like 1/3 of a sheep, right? So you only need about 0.07 acres. Now, obviously, you're going to have to round stuff up and you have to change things. So if you have one sheep, what I'm getting from this is that you can give milk to 3 people per sheep. This is ooze, right? This is obviously you're going to milk the ladies. You're not going to get as much yield if you try milking the rams. And that means we can extend this out. Did it just calculate the value? Why would you do that? I want to copy the. Oh no, that's not. I manually filled in that value. That's why. So that's how many acres. Oh, never mind. That's actually okay. That's how many acres to get what we want. Don't be stupid. There you go. On average, right? And dude, there is no real acreage requirement for the chili peppers. Like one plant will do this. Like, what do you need? Like 3 plants? I don't know. Like it's gonna, a single 4 foot by 8 foot garden bed's gonna do all this. So here we finally found how many acres to feed one single person. That's 0.85 acres. Obviously some of the stuff is gonna combine, but there is your acreage. So you take the number of people you're trying to feed, and I've also put in a lot of margin. So take the number of people you're trying to feed and multiply it by 0.85, and that's what you need. So if I do that, so let's say you're trying to feed a family of 5 times 0.85. So that's 4.2 acres, 4.25 acres, right? So if you want to be completely self-sufficient, that's how much land you actually need. This is not like hundreds of acres. It's not even tens of acres. If you have a 10-acre lot, like let's take 10 acres divided by 0.85. 0.85. So if you want to feed 10 people, I'm sorry, if you have I'm sorry, my math is confused there. If you have 10 acres, you can feed about 11.76 people. So about 12 people. And you see we're going way overboard in a lot of this stuff. Like I've padded this thing heavy, right? If you want empty calories, you can grow grain or corn. Also, I'm assuming a 2,500 calorie a day diet. Your calorie consumption might actually be much lower than that because farming this much land is not that difficult. The problem is the more you eat, the more you have to farm. The more you have to farm, the more you have to eat. Depending, if you're using non-powered equipment. But there you go. Wow, only 5 minutes over. Let me check on this. Let me check on the chat, see if anybody left any chats. There we go, Lord Sandwich. Oh no, my chat disconnected. Oh no, face. Yes, so Lord Sandwich had a comment earlier that the type of land is going to make a difference. It is, but it doesn't make that much difference because this small amount of land, you can build the soil completely from scratch. Like it would cost you maybe 100 or 1,000. It would cost you hundreds, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 because I completely just rebuilt the soil for my grain field, and it was about $150 worth of pure cow manure compost. And then I borrowed one of my neighbor's tractors for like an hour and just ground it in. Right. And I need to build drainage around it so I don't get the stuff to come off. But like, if you want to build up your soil, it's not that big of a deal. Like if you want to amend things, if you want to change the structure of the soil, not very hard. Right. So let's say you have, let's go over to the Farm Engineer bookmarks. There we go, soil moisture sensor. These guys have a really good picture of soil makeup here. Yeah, so here's the usual triangle: silt, clay, and sand. So this builds your structure, and your organic compost and fertilizers are going to build the macro and micronutrients of the soil. Micronutrients are not really that difficult to come by. You're going to have more iron than you know what to do with because that kind of comes with clay. And there's a lot of clay out there. Usually people need to amend with sand. So you bring in a dump truck load of sand, which is probably going to be like $400, and that will be enough sand for you to last a lifetime. You might need silt, but silt is kind of filled in by the organic matter, right? Like, because these are all cataloged by how big the granule size is. So it's not impossible to do. You can do it pretty easily. So a couple of dump trucks and you can make this thing work. Like if you have an acre, you're probably looking at like $1,000 worth of soil amendments, and then you're up to scale. So dude, you could be on Hawaii, or you could be in Alaska or wherever. The sun is going to make a bigger difference to your yields than the soil, because the soil you can change completely. 1 acre. Like if you have 1 acre per person, that's like maybe $1,000 per person to completely terraform the ground. Pests and your climate is going to make a bigger difference than that. In which case you're going to just grow different stuff. Like buckwheat is more for the northern climate where it's kind of colder, right? Obviously Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, that stuff. If you're down south and it's hotter, you're going to grow something different. If you're down someplace hotter, you're going to have more options. Like once you get into the subtropic and tropic regions, you can actually do permaculture. Permaculture is not valid outside of the tropical and subtropical regions because the nutritional content of the stuff that you would permaculture is just not viable to subsist off of. Like there's no calories in berries. There's no calories in berries. So forget it, right? But if you're in a tropical environment, there is calories in avocados. There are calories in pigeon peas, So, but I don't really have any clients that are in the tropical regions, so I don't think about them very much. There you go. About 0.85 acres per person gets you everything you need. I thought it was going to be a lot lower than that. I was a bit more optimistic, but nothing's like a party pooper, quite like math, as you're all going to about to find out in tax season here. Once you do the math, you might be surprised, hopefully in a good way. Probably not, though. It's important to do the math because this is what keeps you from having that like midnight pot of coffee at the kitchen table with your wife. If you've been there, and you know what I'm talking about, where you're just trying to go through, receipts and statements and figure out what the hell happened to all your money. We're not doing that here. We're going to just do the math up front, be disappointed early, be disappointed often, but eventually, but ultimately triumph, right? That's what we do. So you can, on 10 acres, you can feed about 12 people with this stuff. 10 acres, you're looking at $10,000 to amend the soil completely. You're going to need to install drainage, which means, what's the square root of 43,560, right? So 43,560, square root of that. Okay, so 200 feet of, probably 200 feet of drainage, and let's say that you have it on an incline, right? Because usually drainage is a concern if you are on some sort of slope, which means you can predict the direction of the drainage, which means there's only maybe one or maybe two directions of drainage, right? Actually, I'm just going to multiply it by 2. Boom. So 417 feet of drainage you need to do. That's hiring a contractor to come out with a Caterpillar, not a bug, but the power tool, and plowing that much, and then installing a French drain or some sort of drainage system, pipe, whatever, for about 400 feet. Go get a quote from your contractor. Go look up the materials, or wait for me to look it up for you if you're super duper lazy or you don't know how to do it. I'll eventually get to it, but once you've built your soil, you just need to protect your soil. That means drainage. That's it. Maybe a fence. What's 330 feet of that fencing, like to keep predators and deer out. Like pests are the bigger impact than your region. People get concerned about their soil quality. I wouldn't. Like for a homestead, nah. Like a commercial farm, yes, you do, because you're going to be hemorrhaging fertilizer every year. But for a homesteader, you can build your soil. You can build it from scratch. Soil is just soil. There's nothing magical about it. There's no like microbacteria that's going to make or break it. If there was, you could import it, right? Just like your gut bacteria, you can completely change it by doing a fecal matter transplant, which is take someone else's gut bacteria and put it into you, which apparently works really well. I keep asking people and they just don't really want to get into it. They don't want to I keep asking, hey man, you seem to be able to eat whatever you want. Can I have some of your, you know what I mean? They're not for it. Oh no. But anyways, I wonder if my chat disconnected because I got shadow banned. Who knows? It's whatever. Wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't doubt it. So there we go. Big takeaways from this. Get to the end of this thing. Roughly an acre per person. Plenty of you. If you have enough money to buy the land, you have enough money to terraform the land, build your soil up. I will talk about that later. Really, if you want to talk about soil buildup, I'll show you this quick graphic, this quick visual that I put together. Oh my gosh, my typing is terrible. There we go. Generic crop study that I did. So, right, this is a generic crop study. As soon as I actually show it. Right, these are the constituents that make soil. Okay, so everything that builds soil. You have moisture and moisture retention. Moisture retention is determined by the structure of your soil, and that's clay, silt, and sand. Those all build up your moisture retention. I'm gonna make this bigger. Let me embiggen this. Okay, that also makes up your structure. So your structure is going to affect the soil, the root retention, how strong the roots are in. That's going to make a big difference when the plants start getting bigger and having a heavier load to take care of. It's also going to make a difference if you're trying to have some sort of vermiculture like worms or anything else like that in the soil as you go. After that, you have nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, which is going to be N1. Was it K2O3? Oh, sorry, it's P2O3 and then KO2 or something like that. I forget what it was that the paper mentioned. In other words, just potassium, soil, like nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus in your soil. Macronutrients, as they call them. You have your pH, which you can correct with lime or something else. Like, there's plenty of soil amendments that will change your pH, including the fertilizers themselves. And then you have your micronutrients, which is going to be your manganese, your calcium, your iron, et cetera, et cetera. Like, you can build a artificial soil. Like, I can go and take silicon beads and then grind them down to various sizes and then use that as a substrate, soak it in with water, and then just put all these macronutrients all these nutrients here in the water and then balance the pH. And I can grow stuff. That's essentially hydroponics. But hydroponics doesn't provide as much structure. Their structure is usually rigid, it's like a cup. Like you put the root ball in a cup that has some holes in it, and then the roots will come down. Like you can build your own soil. Don't be fixated on soil. There's nothing magical about soil. If you have these basic components, right? And I should say like clay is like, I don't know, 1 micrometer across, and silt is 10 micrometers across, and sand is like 100 micrometers to 1,000 micrometers across, right? It's just graduations of size of particles. There's nothing else different about it. And then you got some light. That's it. Your light's going to make the biggest difference. Try growing something in a shade in like a partially sunny area versus a sunny area, and you'll know the difference. That's the big difference. You can build all of this. Soil is not magic. There is no such thing as Mother Earth. There's just what there is and what you can make. And what there is something you can build. Go build it. 1 acre is nothing. It's 200 feet by 200 feet. Or 208 feet by 208 feet. It's not much. You can build it yourself. Especially if you're in this for the long haul, you're going to invest a lot of time and energy into it. There's nothing wrong with that. So there you go. All right. Well, unfortunately, I'm sorry that my chat broke. I don't know why. It is what it is. I appreciate you guys sticking around, and I will see you guys later. And I'm going to start chopping these live streams up into clips and then posting the clips. But this one was a long one, and this one was a pretty good one. But I'll probably just edit it down to get rid of the e's, ahs, and ums. Or I'll do a synopsis later offline and then post the synopsis of all my math. But, all right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you. Leave a comment. If you have a question and you couldn't put it in the chat, put it in the comment of this video. I will respond to it. I'll do my best. All right. I mean, I could have a heart attack tomorrow. I can't make promises like that, right? But I will do my best. All right, guys. You have a good night. Have a good week. Stay warm. It's going to be really cold. So please take care of your animals. If you have them out there, take care of everything you can. Make sure that your neighbors are okay. If you guys are getting snow, just walk over and say hi to them. Have some food, have a pie or something. Say like, hey, we have an extra pie. How are you guys doing? You guys staying warm? Everything okay? Do you need any extra blankets or anything? Know anybody that needs any extra blankets? That sort of stuff, right? All right. Please do.